just kind of
darn few players, I think, take it that seriously around where we play. I mean, I wore the camouflage shirt and pants because that's what I had, This past year, now I'm wearing a black T-shirt with the camo pants because I got the extra pockets and a tack vest, and I wear the helmet, so I got a place for my GoPro and my radio. That's the only reason why I have some of that gear is so that it's convenience of carrying the stuff I want to take on field with me.
Right, and I have I didn't originally buy a tack vest, although I knew when I was getting my stuff, I knew just for holding extra mags and stuff, I was going to get one eventually. So I got that, and I was just using my paintball mask this last year. The last time I went and played, I was crawling into a building and I actually was going through a window and I tripped. It was such a far drop, I tripped and actually went bam, face first into the wall and broke my mask.
Thank you!
So I was like,
Thank you, I'll be here all week!
I was like, hey, okay? Because it made a loud bang, and I'm like, yeah, my face broke the fall. I'm like, don't worry. So now I have regular, these are more glasses than goggles, but they're full seal. And then I'll eventually get a cage probably too, but I'm making small purchases here or there. So.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm equipping 3 people, so... And that's kind of the benefit once I had a second gun to play with, I was trying to get people to go, I was like, I have everything you need. All you need is $20. I got ammo, I got extra gear, and, so hopefully we'll get more people to come out this year and
I keep trying to, mention to Richard. Richard's in his band, so he's busy all the time, but I know he's expressed interest in playing.
Alex and Laura want to try playing too.
Alex and Laura, or Laura?
Both.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure my friend would be interested in playing if he's free. And as soon as I get my second gun, then I'll have 2 guns as well, so I can kind of borrow them a gun.
Yeah.
And if you want to transition to that, I can go into kind of me going through the.
Yeah, let's move on to that next because, like you said, you were having the difficulties, like what you wanted to use and everything. So
when I was first buying a gun, it's you start with the obvious question that everybody asks themselves: what do you want to do? I mean, what sounds fun? What gun appeals to you? I mean, do you want to be, close quarter combat, CQB, some submachine gun type? Do you want to be a sniper? And that did appeal to me a little bit, but I'm like, it's a tough gun to start out with, and it's very limited in its uses. And then there's the machine gun type where you can just spray and pray, be a support guy. For me, and I think for a lot of people, I was more interested in the assault rifle, the rifleman role, and it wasn't because I like M4s, I like AKs. It was I want the versatility to be able to use it at a longer range, close quarter range. I don't want to be boxed in by whatever I'm doing. So
yeah, that's the difference between stepping back a little. Airsoft and paintball is the different weapons that you have for airsoft actually fulfill a role. If you wanted to take it that far. So yeah, I'm just like you. I liked the rifle.
Well, they can, and even
rather
paintball,
than a machine
even
gun.
paintball had shorter guns that could be used in close quarters. They had bigger guns that could be used for sniping. They had guns with full auto. I mean, there was comparisons. And I think in this, it is much more military, so it is much more understood that there is types of roles. If you're doing a milsim, some type of event like that. If you're doing open play, everybody just does whatever the fuck they want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
and most of it is open play, which is why the rifle is a much better gun to start with.
Yeah, and for me, so I knew I wanted an assault rifle. I didn't care whether it was an M4 or whatever. I knew M4s were the most popular, so it's going to be easier to get parts for. But I mean, for me, I start with price, but that wasn't the most important thing because like I said, I have more money to spend right now, so that wasn't the most important thing. I was looking for accuracy and consistency first. That was the most important thing. I want something that's accurate. It's going to perform the same, because like I said, I was kind of tired of paintball where one day it was shooting straight on, one day it was paintballs are breaking this way or that way. Then I wanted range. So I wanted accuracy, then range. And I wanted to get... I preferred to get a gun that was like 200 feet consistently. I wanted a gun that was going to shoot a little bit further accurately than most people. I know there's always going to be guns that are better than you. Somebody's going to be able to afford $1,000 gun, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to get a good gun that was better than most for accuracy and distance. Then the next most important thing was, for me, was brand reputation. Because I don't know anything about airsoft guns. I wanted to buy a brand that had a good reputation for being good. Because you can buy, every company is going to have one gun that's really good. It's just, but if a company statistically or on average always performs good, I'm going to have more confidence in buying this gun that I know nothing about. Because there's 1,000 versions of an M4 out there. So what is this difference between that difference mean? So for me, I looked at the different brands. I ended up going with Classic Army. There was a couple other brands, but Classic Army was the one I gravitated towards just because of... and the next reason was...
It's a beautiful gun, by the way.
Thanks. So, and some of the other factors in my mind, this is all metal. There's a little bit of plastic here. But I wanted something that was going to be durable. I see a lot of people that have plastic guns, and that's fine. But, I play usually pretty aggressive. I've tripped, I've fallen, I've dropped my paintball guns before. Paintball guns are all made of aluminum and stuff, or some type of metal, depending. So I wanted something that was going to be durable, that if I dropped it, I'm not going to go, fuck, I just wasted $200.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's a couple other factors. This gun's fairly heavy, so I did factor in gun weight, but it wasn't...
Ooh.
It really wasn't that important to me, because I'm like, in the heat of the moment, I don't pay attention to the weight. Yes, if it's heavier, it's harder to quick swing around, but I wasn't too worried about that, because I kind of prefer, when we kind of talk about fields, I'll kind of get into that, but I kind of prefer the open woods types, so I wasn't worried about constantly having to quick turn directions, CQB style, so that wasn't a factor to me. And then lastly was upgrades. Now, a lot of people, they'll buy guns and then they'll upgrade it. I was like, I don't want to do it. I just want to buy a gun that's pretty much ready to go now. I was like,
okay.
So I don't want to have to buy a $100 gun and then spend another $100 on parts and then try and figure out how to put it together. Because again, like M4s, I'd look on YouTube or whatever, and there's 1,000 different M4s, and they're all slightly different. So it's like, what one person does in their M4 doesn't mean it applies to another one. So I'm like, I just want to get my gun, put the mag in it, and go. So,
amen. I want to be ready to go.
Yeah. And for me, there's kind of three different ways that come to mind. You can do online research when it comes to finding things, which is the method I prefer. You can also go to a gun store and cold guns, look at guns. That's kind of your preferred method.
I like to go and hold one until I find one that loves me back.
Right. And like I said, looks where it's super important to me. I can see pictures online, so I have a pretty good idea of what I'm getting. Or you can talk to somebody or on online forums. But for me, it was online research, because I prefer going to a website and reading 20, 30, 100, whatever reviews on a gun from people who aren't trying to sell me a gun. Say, this is the gun, this is what I think of it, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and then I can look at a couple different guns and compare. Whereas if I go to a store, even if it's like OPFOR or whoever, somebody who's really nice, even Gary was really awesome at Combat Zone, at the end of the day, they're still trying to sell you a product. So
yeah,
I prefer listening to the opinions of 50 people I don't know, but aren't trying to sell me on something, as opposed to a few people who I can talk to or do know, but maybe are trying to sell me at something. So I'm like, I like the variety, the broadness, and I can look at this website, that website. So that was for me. I based all my stuff on online research. I bought this gun, never went to a store, never held it, got it, and I was like, yep. So.
Okay. Me, I gotta have it in my hand to see if I like it, see if it fits well. When I went and looked at that Thompson, probably I'm not gonna say the worst type of gun to start out with, but definitely unique. No one else on the field that I knew at that time or saw had a Thompson.
Yeah.
But I bought it because it fit very well. I liked when the way the stock kind of comes down. So when I put the stock in my shoulder, it actually brought the sights up to where I needed the sights. Whereas an M4 like this, when I had just upgraded my Masada, I had to put rail risers on there to get the sight where I need it, so I can look at rather than going like this and being into my stock.
And this one has sights, iron sights. You can put something on it.
Mm-hmm.
I never use these. I think the entire year I kept this down. Occasionally I would have this, but I was using a paintball mask, so I never really looked down. I would kind of just do one of these and look over it, and I could trace the rounds.
Kind of what we did when we played paintball. Because there is no aiming in paintball.
And without the paintball mask, I can probably get a little bit easy, get my cheek on there and aim down the sights a little bit easier. And I've seen a lot of people with red dots, and a lot of people like the red dots. But for me, these are full auto, so I'm gonna spray, and because it's so cheap, I don't care about throwing out 100 rounds if I have to.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna spray 20 rounds at you, and I'm gonna be able to follow it, redirect it, and kind of get you. And this one of the mags I bought later. So it originally came with high cap, which 300 rounds, but you have to wind it, and it only gives you 30 rounds. This is advertises for 190, so I can go through this. I can spray 50 rounds in a very short time before, if I'm fighting somebody with a high cap, they have a lot of ammo, but they're going to spray and yip, 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 zip, zip, zip. And I can just keep going, and I have 3 of these on the field with me all the time, so I could very easily spray, I don't usually spray, but I can usually put out 500 rounds if I need to. I often...
That's all 190 rounds?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
No wonder you only have 3.
Yeah.
Mine only hold 120.
Yeah, and I usually only put about 160 in there just because I don't want to overload them. But yeah, I took one apart once because when I got it, it just wasn't working. And there's a spring that does like a zigzag thing in here, and it was a little bit of a pain to get back in, but I fixed it, and so it works now. But so that was kind of my thought process on that. So.
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me.